Jigsaw Shed. Now it's about time that I make myself my own coffee grinder, given that at Maker Central I bought myself some Blue Mountain Jamaican coffee beans without having a grinder. So here we go. I got 2 pieces of ash that I'm going to make this from. Ideally I want a single piece so that the grain can match and everything, but I didn't have a piece big enough. So starting off, I'm rough turning the lid that will house the grinder part itself. So yeah, hope you enjoy. So now, searching online, I found the grinder kit over at ProCraft, and it didn't come with any specific instructions of how to assemble it or anything, but on the website itself there's a link to a video that is very detailed in describing the assembly process, but also the dimensions you'd require. So just smoothing off the bottom part there, and now drilling a hole straight through, obviously making sure that it don't hit the chuck at the end. So the first part you will need to measure out is the outer part of the grinder element, and you don't have to recess it, it can just fit right into the bottom of the lid, but I wanted to make it look a bit neater, a bit more flush, so I went for the recess. Now this is the bottom part of the lid, and that will fit onto the pot below, and as you can see I haven't made a recess allowing for that, so I will have to cut this deeper later on. But here I am cutting the taper for the grinder itself, and I want to make sure it's a snug fit, so it's a bit of a trial and error refitting, but again I'm going to have to go over this process again when I deepen the recess. Right, so now is the time that I realised I made a mistake, and there we go, starting the process over again, trial fitting everything, but this should all be correct now from here. Now I'm making a mark on the inside there to where the grinder comes, because I can taper the top part in to help feed the beans, but also makes more space in the hopper itself. Now I'm not sure why I took the mortise completely away, because I could have used that height. Possibly I thought, oh, the lid needs to be a bit narrower, but ultimately it would have given more space in the hopper and a better feed down into the grinder if I left the height. Now again, the trial and error with the fitting, and at one point I make it slightly too big and the top fits just a bit loosely, so I have to recut that, bring it down a bit lower, which wasn't my intention, but overall it worked out fine. As I say, you've got to learn from your mistakes, and it's good practice and good fun doing all this. Now I've got to make sure there's a little ridge that remains. I don't cut all the way out to the recess, only because there needs to be a space for the screws for the lid to screw into. If I taper it all away, there won't be any space. Now as the inside is I'm trying to keep it food safe, I'm not applying my normal finishes of sealer or something, but instead I'm burning it, as the fire would help seal the wood, and then I can apply a food safe finish. Now I couldn't find my Versaflame, so I decided to use my Versatip to burn the wood here on the lid pot. I did find the Versatip later, as you will see further on in the video. Now knocking this back with sandpaper helps get rid of the loose debris, but also gives a nice smooth surface. It's a little bit tight, so just smoothing that up in the corners. And then burning the bottom part. Now you will see that I haven't finished the outside of the lid itself, only because I'm going to test fit it onto the pot later and then turn the two together to make sure that the outer dimensions are equal. Now burning right into the corner there was really tricky, so I decided to use the attachment to see if I could get it a bit better, but overall it's the bottom of the pot, it's all part of the character. So I applied about 3 or 4 coats of food safe finish, and in between each coat I would knock it back with Chestnut Products nightwear pads. So on to turning another piece of ash. This will become the bottom of the pot that ultimately is a cup that captures the ground coffee. So there is a crack in it that ran deeper than I was hoping it would, and I will try and work it to make the pot a little bit smaller to see if I could get away from that, but ultimately sealed it with some thin CA glue and then continue it once that's dried. So making a tenon so I can flip the pot around, as I will need to hollow it out on the inside. So before I could hollow the pot, I needed to make sure that I get the dimensions of the tenon correct, that will fit into the mortise on the lid. Bit of test fitting with this, bit of a slow process, but all part of the fun. Now, at the end, the lid doesn't have to fit tightly to the cup, because you want it to get off without spilling your coffee grounds. But at this point, I do want a tight fit, as I will be jamming the two together to turn the outside. So just back to putting some oil onto the lid itself before continuing with the pot. Can't remember why I did this way. Oh, because I'm waiting for some more glue to dry, that's why. And then we get onto the hollowing. Now I left about 5mm on the tenon for the lid itself. I felt that with the crack itself as well, I didn't want to make that too narrow. Ultimately it's a functional pot, it's supposed to be sturdy. left the bottom of the pot curved as I want the ground coffee all to collect, make it easy to scoop out as well. And I could have tried to make sure that it fits, the curvature actually fits my coffee scoop, which would have made that even nicer, but hey ho, or you learn your lessons and work from there. So I did find the Versaflame, and to reach into the deeper part of the pot, I decided to put the nozzle extension on. It did take a bit longer to get the burn going with that, but ultimately it achieved what I needed. Now, the burning did cause a crack to open up more, so a bit more warping, and that meant that where I made the tenon for the pot, I had to take that back and redo it so that I didn't have the warping up there. But you will see that shortly. A nice bit of flame. So you can see the crack lines where the heat had made the wood expand and open up the cracks. So I had to fill those. Now, this does compromise the food safety of the inside, but once the glue is cured, it's fine, and this is for personal use. So once I've sealed it with the thinner glue, I went onto the black thick CA glue from O3 Adhesives. If you're interested in O3 adhesives, do follow my affiliate link down at the bottom in the description, or I will put a card up the top if I remember. And here we go, cutting the new tenon. So now it's time to jam the two pieces together and make sure that the outside is all turned to the same dimensions. And it also gives me a chance to put detailing in it if I want. Now, the outside of the container doesn't need to be food safe, so I can go with my normal finish of cellulose sanding sealer, then using Yorkshire Grit to really shine that up before applying microcrystalline wax. And the same for the outside part of the lid. And I forgot to press record when I turned away the tenon, but it I put it in between my coal jaws, used the tailstock right up to the last little nib here, cleaned that up, then sanded it smooth so that I can then have a nice surface that I can laser engrave my logo. And then assembling the lid, I drilled some pilot holes using my Dremel 8260 with a 1.5mm drill bit. Now, despite doing that, it was still a bit tight and the screws are weak, and I did shear one of them off on the bottom here, and then again turning over for the hopper, same process, and one of them sheared as well. So next time I might take a bit more time on making sure the pilot holes are correct. Now the assembly process here is all sped up. If you are looking for detailed instructions of how to assemble one of these, I've put the link to the ProCraft video in the description below. Now with engraving my logo, I did add 2 little coffee beans within the logo, and you will see that in the still images shortly. Now, although I have the Blue Mountain coffee, these are actually Ms Tita's Jamaican coffee blend Jubilee. Only I'm saving the Blue Mountain for a special occasion. Oh, hello and welcome to Jigsaw Shed. Sorry, I was just getting a bit lost there with my coffee. Yeah, really lovely coffee. But there you go. There's the final piece. A lot of fun making this. Fair bit to learn. The thing, obviously, the crack did give me a few headaches there, so it's not perfectly food safe on the inside, but it's for me. So the glue is cured. It's absolutely fine. So I'm happy with that. The crack does mean that at some points there's a bit more movement, so the lid doesn't fit perfectly all the way around, but that's fine. So I can actually have the loose part that I need, but also just fix it into place a bit more. So that's quite handy. Didn't expect that. Obviously 2 different pieces of ash, so the grains don't match and the color don't match as such. I was going to do some texturing and some color on this, but ultimately it was taking a lot longer than I intended. So I decided I'll finish it there and maybe another time do another one. Had a few issues obviously with the screws. Even though I made the pilot holes, the screws are very weak, so 2 of them, one on the outside and one on the inside, did shear off, but both pieces I did make the recesses so tight that they actually fit really well, so that doesn't matter too much. Yeah, really like this. A really lovely kit from ProCraft as well. And there's nothing better than grinding your own coffee by hand from something you've made. I think makes it taste better. Well, that's just my opinion. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. And I hope to see you next time. Take care.